Welcome back to Broken Bobby's transformation page. In the late 80s, I became involved with drugs and would eventually become part of that lifestyle of trafficking, addiction, and violence. Over the next 20 years, I would be in and out of jail and prison. If you're thinking about trying something or you're dealing with addiction, your life don't need to go down the same path mine did. I hurt a lot of people, both physically and emotionally. These are my stories of how I transformed my life, and you can too. Let's get it. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can see by the title and the thumbnail, there is no loyalty in this game. So today, I went with the family. We went to Knott's Berry Farm in Buena Park. And in going there, I passed through some of my old stomping grounds, and it brought back some memories of, some of the things I used to do. And to be honest, I'm really glad that I'm not living the lifestyle that I used to live when I was running around down there. But it brought up, like I said, some memories, and it made me think of somebody. There was a guy, Schmitty. That was his real nickname. I'm not going to say his full name, but I believe he used to work at Knott's Berry Farm. And when I was working at Disney at the time, and, I was dealing a little bit of weed on the side, nothing major or anything, just making a few extra bucks. And at the time, my connection was telling me, the money's in the white, in the crystal, basically. And I didn't really know people who were using it like that in order to be able to push it. Disney, there's a bunch of college students that worked there, and they partied. I went to a few of their parties. I seen their get down, and I seen my opening, and I made my move. But they weren't doing the crystal. But I met this guy, Schmitty. He was staying in a motel on Lincoln, a little dump motel, and he had a roommate, and they were using. And Schmitty was a cool kid. I don't know what's going on with Schmitty these days. Hopefully he's doing well, and if you see this, shout out to you, Schmitty. But this is a story of, there's no loyalty in the game. And this was on my part, and it's on everybody's part. So I started picking up small quantities of the crystal, and because Schmitty used. So I'd stop by, drop a little something off, and he told me, hey, my guy over here, the other guy that I get it from, like, he can move it. And, if you want me to, I'll introduce you. And, I was a little hesitant because in that, like, you don't like meeting new people. You don't know who you're meeting. You think everybody's a cop, basically. And he took me over to the apartments on Lincoln Magnolia and made the introduction. We talked a little bit. That this was JoJo that I talked about in previous stories. And basically, he plugged me in with this guy. And JoJo was able to move the stuff like crazy. Like, this was my main spot where the product was getting pushed like crazy. And, I was making a lot of money down there. A couple of other people popped out of there that were in other locations in Anaheim over on the east side that were moving it for me as well in time. And, I developed some other connections, and I was on a live the other night, and we were talking about how much money I made at my peak. And somebody did the math, and the number was somewhere like 200 grand that year, profit. And, I never really thought about it that much, but, I was making a lot of money, and most of that was thanks to Schmitty, who plugged me in there, And, obviously we made it what it was, but I would have never had that connection had it not been for Schmitty. And, I really like Schmitty. But the thing is, when we're dealing with addiction, sometimes our behaviors change. And ultimately, he became a problem for the Lincoln and Magnolia spot. He was over there really acting out a character, running his mouth, talking shit to some of the people over there, and it was bad for business. And ultimately, like the JoJo wouldn't touch him because he was my guy. And let's just say I wasn't nobody. Like, I wasn't part of an organization or something that could put a green light on somebody and have somebody taken out or something like that. But at the same time, I controlled the sack. And, I was able to bring a better price to JoJo. So therefore, I had a lot of power over JoJo and his crew down there. And, he had some hitters down there. And, JoJo would call me and he'd say, Schmitty's again, I want to smash this fool. And, for the longest time, I shielded Schmitty. I would tell him, no, you know what? Don't do anything to him. I'll stop by and see him. I'll talk to him. I'll fix it, Because the last thing I wanted was for somebody to get hurt. But something you have to keep in mind is when you're doing business and you're making a lot of money, you're not going to let anybody or anything get in the way of that cash flow coming in. And ultimately, what happened was, Schmitty was over in the apartments again, and, he was basically being disruptive, getting the cops called out, stuff like that, which obviously is bad for business. And JoJo called me. I had talked to Schmitty several times already, and, I wasn't getting through to him. And JoJo called me again. He said, hey, business is basically shut down for the day. We got cops out here for Schmitty, and, we're losing money. So, I want to basically pack him out and let him know he's not welcome here anymore because, we're losing money. And ultimately, I told JoJo, go ahead and take care of business. Just do it when I'm not there, because I didn't want to see it. And let me be perfectly clear. The goal wasn't to unalive him or anything like that. The goal was just to, have a couple guys jump him basically, and so that he wouldn't come around no more, because he was getting in the way of business. And, ultimately that's what happened. So I authorized that to happen with those guys. And like I said, the thing is, I'm not claiming to be some big mafioso guy or something at that time. I wasn't. I was just your regular run-of-the-mill drug dealer who, had decent prices and had everybody plugged in that area. So therefore, my word carried a lot of weight because people didn't want to mess up a good thing. So they packed him out, and things were really getting wild down there around that time. Like, things had been going really well for a while, but everything that goes up must come down eventually. JoJo would get caught. He was involved in a domestic dispute on the street behind the apartments, and the cops found, they could never bust him on the product, but he had a concealed pocket knife. That was, they took him in for that. And the people that were there, they called me and they said, hey, JoJo got taken in. And, I went down and basically secured the bag, dropped a little something on a couple of people for handling business, basically. Shot them a little bit of product to take care of what they could, basically, because they could have just ran off with the product that was there, but they didn't. They chose to be loyal. And, you know, so I appreciated that. But like I said, things were unraveling quick. Everybody was doing way too much drugs. And like I said, it wasn't that I wanted to get Schmitty hurt, but he was getting in the way of money. And that you can't have that when you're making a lot of money. So, and the thing is, a lot of organizations in prison are the same way. If you're profitable, then you're great. You're in good standings. You start messing up, they'll discard you in a hurry, And it's the same with the street life, like if you are a useful idiot, basically, then people will keep you around. And the minute you're no longer useful, or you're getting in the way, or you're causing problems with making the money, you'll be discarded in a heartbeat. Now, one thing I want to add to this story, because, it's wasn't a good one, right? Like, it's unfortunate that had to happen. When I caught my sales case in LA County, now keep in mind, we were in Anaheim. One person came to visit me shortly after I got busted, too. And it was Schmitty. They said, Bobby, you got to visit. So I go down to visiting. Wasn't expecting any visits because I never wanted my wife or kids to come and visit me when I was locked up. But Schmitty was down there when I got down there, to my surprise. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is this guy doing here? Like, everybody knew that I allowed him to get jumped, basically, and ran out of there and cut off, basically. Because I used to, I'd kick him down all the time just because, he's the little homie. But it was Schmitty sitting there behind the glass. In LA County, you're behind the glass for the visits. And he's on the phone, and I hesitantly pick up the phone, and I'm thinking, what is this about, And he tells me, I rode the bus for 4 hours to come and see you. And I'm like, bro, I really appreciate that, like, what's on your mind that you would ride the bus for that long to come and see me after everything that's happened? And he tells me, he says, I had nothing to do with you getting busted. And that just blew my mind, like, I fell asleep at a traffic light. That's the reason I got busted. But apparently word on the street was that because of me allowing him to get ran out of there, that now he was some sort of snitch or something. And, when I was able to communicate with the people who were taking care of business for me, I made sure to make that clear that he wasn't. So I want to give a special shout out to Schmitty. Man, I hope if you see this, bro, I hope you're doing great. I hope you got your life together, and I hope you're just killing it. Definitely drop a comment if you do see this, and I hope that everything is doing well. It's been a long time since I talked to Schmitty, so I have no idea what his current status is. The other people that were my so-called dogs and everything, they didn't come to visit, they didn't write, they didn't put any money on my books. And to be honest with you, that's always the case. All the people that are your ride or dies, as they call themselves, they're going to be your ride or dies until you are no longer useful. And once you become incarcerated, they're going to move on to a new ride or die. Just keeping it real, guys. You know what I mean? So the message for the day basically is, these people that you think are your friends in the dope game, they're not. They're going to be your friends as long as you're useful to them. And the moment you no longer are, they're going to discard you like they did the last one and the one after you. So, the best thing to do is not be involved with these type of people. If you're thinking about getting clean, you can do it. I believe in you. I've been clean 19 years, And, you know, I never thought I would get clean. If I could do it, you could do it. I believe in you. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, smash that like button, drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Was I wrong? Was I right? What do you think? Drop a comment down below and let me know. Also, share this video. If you know somebody that enjoys this sort of content, definitely share the video to them. And hit that notification bell so that anytime I drop a new video or go live, you will be notified and you can check it out when you're ready. Become a member of the channel. Hit that join button. That is the best way to support the channel. And I can use all the support I can get. So we're a few subs away from 1,500. And I thank you all for that. I could not do this without you guys. So shout out to you. Family, fitness, and freedom are the things that got me away from living this sort of lifestyle and being involved with these shenanigans. And it can help you as well. Remember, it's just a matter of making a good decision and then making another good decision and repeating that process. If you make a bad decision, it's not the end of the world, but, you know, jump back on to making good decisions. That's what worked for me. Replace your so-called friends with people that are good influence. And start becoming a good influence yourself, you know? Anyways, I hope everybody's week is off to a great start. I'll probably be going live later on tonight, so be on the lookout for that. And don't look at the mountain. Just start climbing. Over here.